And welcome to Phuket in Focus for another week here on Phuket News TV. And we've got Nadine Oliver, we've got Tim Shaw coming up very soon. But very importantly, we're coming to you today from
Beach Projects, proudly showing you Bugatti Retreat at PP Island and Silver Beach here in Phuket.
And that's all coming up soon. Plus, we're going to be talking about scams and annoyances and also the things you'd like to see more of or less of here on the island. Coming up on Phuket in Focus.
Chic condominium at Kamala. One of Phuket's most exclusive addresses. Luxury at an international scale, just moments from Kamala Beach. Go to chiccondokamala.com.
And yes, we're back here on Phuket in Focus for another week. We've got Nadine Oliver from Australia, but she's actually been here in Phuket for 17 years.
Yes, 17 years.
Welcome. And also Tim Shaw, raconteur, entrepreneur, and also the Thailand correspondent for the 7 Network.
Sawadee Cup Kun Tim. Hi everyone.
And today we're going to start by talking about scams. Now, there are plenty of scams and annoyances on the island, and we sort of giggle about them. I want to ask you whether you feel sorry for tourists who fall for or even expats who fall for these scams, given that I think, this is just my opinion, that if you spent 5 minutes on the internet, you would avoid just about all of them. What do you think?
Look, a lot of Australian tourists have been scammed and the Australian government has recognised it. smarttraveller.gov.au is a must-go-to website, and it helps Australian tourists and tourists from all over the world to actually understand what are some of the risks. So being aware before you leave is very helpful. Most free and independent travellers now do it all themselves. So I think you're right. If when you're booking a Jetstar flight or if you're booking some accommodation, it'd be great if those hotels, airlines actually put up some warnings as a service to their guests.
Jürgen or Svetlana aren't going to be going to smarttravelleroz.com or whatever it is.
No, and this is where other governments and particularly departments of foreign affairs around the world can liaise and talk. But our honorary consuls here on the island also do a great job to the best of their ability to be able to get the message out. So I think it's a community approach because it not just affects us as expats, but it affects our friends and also our Thai brothers and sisters.
Nadine, have you been scammed at all? Have you fallen, in your 17 years here, you must have fallen for at least one.
I have to say that I've been very, very fortunate. I do have, many friends that have had, different sorts of experiences here over the years.
Name them. I want names. Not the people, the scam.
Oh, well, I mean, there's a lot of business scams that you hear about.
Have they been dragged off to a timeshare property or something?
No, not any timeshare stories spring to mind, but, investing in certain projects and, that not coming to fruition and that sort of thing. That's sort of more so the things that I can think of off the top of my head. In a place like Patong, there's, a higher volume of
scammers and scammees.
I was going to say more so opportunists, looking to try and make that extra dollar and, to maybe, the best way to say it would be to play on people's ignorance and unawareness of what goes on here sometimes.
Tim, is there any scams that you know about or been caught up with? Go and admit it.
Touch wood, I have not been scammed, and I guess one of the best ways to avoid it is ask the others that you're travelling with at the local hotels, people that are actually here a little longer, what are the prices you should pay. That's a good way to avoid a scam.
I think also Thai people in general are good-natured people, and they wouldn't like to think of their fellow brothers and sisters ruining the good name of
They're the ones doing it.
Well, yes. Not only the Thais.
Fair.
And I would say that there needs to be more awareness with maybe some of the expatriates that are living here, and the things that are going on with different business people here.
Last word to you.
Yeah, look, I think Nadine's right. What you've really got to be is vigilant. You're in a new country. You're a guest in the Kingdom of Thailand. So don't do things here that you wouldn't do at home. And caveat emptor, buyer beware. Think before you hand over your cash.
I love it when you speak Latin. Right, now we're moving on to the topic of the type of tourists coming here at the moment, and we have busloads, literally busloads, and charter plane loads full of, well, pretty much Chinese and Russian tourists. They're the ones really filling up the buses and the planes at the moment. And it seems to be that a lot of the earlier 10, 20 years ago, 5-star properties and 5-star tourists aren't coming to Phuket as much. Now, is this trend good? I mean, obviously we're filling up hotels and people are going to restaurants. What do you think about the trend?
Well, obviously people need to make a livelihood here. Business is business. And I would like to see there a lot more consideration go into the type of tourists that we're attracting for the long term here in Phuket. Yes, you're filling up the hotels, maybe the more three-star type hotels with the busloads of Russians and Chinese and Koreans as well that are coming here.
And we've got nothing against the Russians, Chinese and Koreans coming, by the way.
And Chinese and Korean friends. You know, they're just the type of people that...
Gong Si Fa Chai for last week.
they're just more visible, I guess, with all of the bus accidents and things that have been going on lately, I think. So I think there would be a much better way to market Phuket for the long term to attract that high-end spend back here.
Tim, what do we do to ring up the Russian charter planes and the Chinese charter planes? Say, oh, look, please don't bring them here.
Ni hao mai, spasiba. Bums in beds. And remember that China is an emerging economy with hundreds of thousands, now millions, of free and independent travellers who are middle class. Same too with our Russian brothers and sisters. Phuket is not the only island paradise in the world. So the reality is that with the 5- and 6-star properties here on the island, those particular hotels and experiences are being marketed in a very special way. But bums in beds, they will fill the charter flights, and we've seen Governor opening the charter terminal now, and that infrastructure investment actually is good for the island in general. And the more infrastructure investment to handle the big plane loads, you can't get another flight in here, I understand, Tim, until the end of 2014. So good on those tourism authorities that have encouraged this, but start thinking past just the charter flight. How do we perpetuate and increase that free and independent traveller to see more than just one restaurant, one hotel and one gift store? And I think that will see a broader difference in the type of tourists coming here.
It's just another trend, I suppose, of the people coming through the island. Let's have a talk about another thing. With all these people coming here, there's more rubbish. And a lot of that rubbish ends up on our beaches here. Now, I've been a part of many beach cleans here on the island. And it's a sort of almost a unique Phuket thing, whereas we go out as expats who use our beach to go and clean the wretched beaches. Should we be cleaning the beaches, or is that something that the government or the TAT should be doing?
Well, I think the responsibility falls on everybody that's involved. First of all, an education campaign would be wonderful to see people not throwing rubbish onto the beaches, or the fishermen out in the water throwing their rubbish into the sea, so it's washing up onto the shore. Some of the big boats that are coming in at the moment, they're... What's the best way to say it?
Sinking?
No, not sinking. Well, no,
another
I was going to say disposing of waste would be the best way to put it. That I've seen inappropriate waste floating about on the beaches, which makes me well up with tears to see this type of thing.
But should we be cleaning it, or should the local municipality be cleaning it?
Well, I think it does fall on the government's responsibility. Well, we're Australian, so taking care of our beaches is part of our heritage and our culture, and we're very proud of our beaches, and I'd love to see Thai people a little bit more proactive.
Tim, have you been to any beach cleans? Do you think it's your job to keep the beaches clean?
I pick up every time I go to the beach, and Clean Up Australia Day was an amazing program where every Australian went out and cleaned up their little community. And I think Clean Up Thailand Day is every day, and the capacity for us to all as a whole of community take responsibility. I don't mind picking up rubbish when I go to the beach. It's really simple to do. And when one person picks up, everyone else seems to follow. I've noted an improvement in the cleanliness of Phuket beaches. Phuket Property is online, Facebook, and in fact they'll let you list one of your properties as long as you make a 200 baht donation to a Clean Up Beach program. So there's a way that Phalanx are trying here on the island to actually make a contribution. I think our local Thai brothers and sisters are doing a good job. They clean up their little part of the beach. So Clean Up Thailand Day, I think that's every day, and I think we can all make a contribution.
Well, that's going to keep you busy for the next couple of years.
Absolutely. Why not?
Tim Shaw's just put his hand up. Now, I'm going to ask you both to tell me, just very quickly, what would be the one thing you would want more of or less of here in Phuket? And I'm going to kick off by saying I think the one thing we need more of, referring back to our last topic, is more rubbish bins. I think would be a really good thing to have around the island. Your turn. More or less of what?
Oh, I'd love to see the rubbish bins myself too. I would like to see more care for one another on the roads at the moment. You know, we're all driving all over the island every day pretty much. And over the last year, I can just see that it's just become really progressively worse and a lot more thoughtlessness on the roads as well. So that would be my one gift to give Phuket.
Said by somebody who's been here for 17 years. Tim, more or less of what?
We need more regulation in the safety of those heavy vehicles and also the large buses. We've had too many deaths and too many accidents with those heavy vehicles. I completely support the Governor's initiative to limit heavy traffic between 6 and 9 a.m. and 4 and 7 p.m. on Patong Hill. I think we also need to take responsibility for being better drivers. And again, to our Thai brothers and sisters, they're driving a little bit slower, I've noted, and I want to see some of the big bus drivers and also those big heavy trucks driving a bit slower. So I think we all need to take more care on the roads. It is a life risk, and we love the freedom of Thailand, but boy oh boy, take more care on the roads.
Nadine, Oliver, Tim Shaw, it's been a joy having you. Thank you very much for coming in.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure, Tim.
And Tim Shaw, always a delight.
Kopkun Kap Kun Tim.
Thank you very much for joining us in Phuket in Focus this week. We'll be back again with another Phuket in Focus next week.